Yo, 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 welcome everybody. I'd like to welcome you all to our new studio. What do you think about this, Dan?
I love it. It's great.
Feel like it's ramping up. We've got the strong animal vibes in the room, ready for this animalistic war we're about to go into in the crypto world.
Yeah, we've literally done hundreds of episodes and didn't have a proper setup. So now we actually have a proper setup. So I kind of feel like Iron Man when he has the suit on, because we have this awesome tech around us and it feels class.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to creating some great quality content here. For the time being, see if we can get this camera to focus.
It's magic.
I'm here. There we go. For the time being, let's have a chat about what the hell's going on in crypto right now.
Bull market, apparently. Well, the beginning of a bull market.
Seems to be the beginning of a bull market, eh? What are your feelings about it?
Well, when Bitcoin, after it goes past all-time high, I think people will start allocating. Projects like Hive can definitely do with the speculation. I'll take some speculation pumps any day.
Yeah.
So I think, always rooting for Bitcoin. I never understood altcoin people. I don't consider Hive an altcoin. I hate that name. But just coins that aren't Bitcoin, people, they don't like it if Bitcoin goes up because they think, oh, I should have Bitcoin, but they don't realize it's a boat. The water's going to rise all tides.
Yeah. So. I mean, at the moment, like Hive's been a big lagger. Hive's been a big lagger.
Yeah.
It kind of always is traditionally anyway. But I feel like in the last few days, it's made a nice pump. It's starting to come back up. But it's still at like 350 something in the market cap, right?
It's like, it's in the 300s, which is good in my opinion, because if you don't have centralized VC funding, then you literally have to rely on fundamentals, and people will be like, oh, look at this micro cap. It's in the 300s. Oh, and then they'll study it, and it doesn't take long before you get some speculation going.
Do you reckon it's almost a positive because the lower down you go in the market cap, the more like you get these crazy degens searching for gems?
Exactly.
It's almost like we weren't low enough before. You know?
I think the worst place to be in is like the top 100 in terms of if you're looking for speculative pumps. People are going to, those coins are going to move, but it's like moving mountains. When you start to look into the second, third, fourth, fifth page of these coin ranking websites, that's when people get excited. So,
yeah, for sure, man. So I'm going to go into a couple of things here that have happened recently in the crypto market. Let's have a little look here. So,
scrolling Twitter.
Let's talk about this. Like, this was one from JFK talking about how Bitcoin is going to protect you from inflation and it's going to be a replacement to the money system, and it's going to be the people's money, so people should get into Bitcoin now. I mean, to me, that sounds like Bitcoin 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Whereas at the moment, with the high fee base layer and the choose your custodian layer 2, it's kind of lost track from Bitcoin. I think something really interesting has been going on recently with these Satoshi emails that have come out. And then the next thing is like people starting to realize that Satoshi was probably a big blocker. And the Bitcoin that we have today isn't necessarily the Bitcoin that he was trying to build,
Yeah. When people build things, they don't necessarily build them knowing exactly what they'll become. I think the same thing with Bitcoin. You have Satoshi was in favor of a free transaction layer. Where the idea is going to fail in practice is no matter what you do, people are going to price in dollars. They're going to price in the most stable unit of account because 99% of the world can't speculate. A store of value, by definition, cannot fluctuate in value a lot. If it does, and then you have to sell when it goes down, it wasn't a store of value. So you need an algo stablecoin attached to it. That's Bitcoin's biggest problem. They gutted the there's three things. You need the algo stablecoin, transaction layer, data availability layer. They gutted the transaction layer, and they didn't have a stablecoin. So the one thing I would say that is good for humanity when it comes to Bitcoin is the fact that you can bridge to it. So it is permissionless liquidity. You can go, you'll have to enter KYC world maybe, but the liquidity's there, and then it can be traded for basically anything. And also number go up. That's, people have an opportunity to invest in something that will go up in value. What it is, you have to understand what you're holding. It is not a freedom tool. It is a freedom to liquidity, but then you're trapped inside the system. So it's basically the new system. I can't go to Chase Bank and build a bridge. Right? I can't just knock a hole down and connect to one of their vaults and start interacting. You need KYC, you need permission, but with Lightning Network, you don't need to do that. You just attach to it. So in a way, Hive is a parasite on Bitcoin, sapping it for its liquidity needs. But that's how I view Bitcoin. But without Hive, if these people who don't know about Hive and are toting Bitcoin as freedom tools are, they're false idols. They are wrong. They are absolutely dead wrong. Bitcoin is a tool for tyranny. If you don't have Hive, it is a tool for tyranny because the elites will use the base layer, be way too high fee, and then all the plebs will use centralized layer 2s. There is no such thing as bring your own node, altruistic nodes. It doesn't happen. It's not going to happen. People aren't going to take arrows for free. Well, it's not for free. People aren't going to lose money to take arrows because in order to compete with Chase, you're going to have to go free or pay. You can't do that, Joe Blow, and then they're going to fucking throw arrows at you because you're not Chase Bank. So just game theorize it. There is not a maxi in here that can game theorize a way where Lightning Network ends up decentralized without Hive, and Bitcoin can be used by the masses on the base layer. Because me and you know people who are saying, we sent them Bitcoin for the first time on a transaction layer, a true transaction layer, and they said, holy shit, it's the first time I've ever had Bitcoin because I could never afford to use the main chain. And just 99% of the fucking world we're talking about, these fees go above $50.
Yeah.
And then once they go above 1,000, you're talking microscopic percentage of people who are actually able to use it.
Yeah. It's really ironic to me because right now you got this situation where the kind of Bitcoin maxis are touting all this freedom stuff and freedom tools for Bitcoin and everyone's going to be free. It's like, no, the higher the base layer fee goes, you're going into like 0.1% of the world that are going to benefit from this.
Yep.
Maybe even less. All these maxis that kind of, they've been on this train for ages and now the fees are going high. They're still on the same train. It's like, no, once the fees change, it's a fundamental change in Bitcoin. And you're not going to have people all over the world being able to use it. The other thing is from El Salvador, you see the evidence. As soon as people got their Bitcoin, the $30 that they dropped, what happened? They sold it. They sold it straight away. You can't transact on it because it moves all the time. There's too much volatility risk in the currency. You need to have a stable coin or as a minimum a free KYC-less transaction layer, which bring your own node, voluntary node operation doesn't provide. It requires eventually, when you get to scale, you have to compete against Chase Bank, and they're going to keep the fees lower than you can.
And they've already talked about making a stable coin on the Lightning Network backed by Bitcoin. It'll be centralized, obviously, because Bitcoin doesn't have the technology to do this. That is the dream goal for them. They want to offer a lightning-fast, barrierless way to send money instantly, a penny from China to fucking India or wherever you want to go, if jurisdictions allow it. So it's like the convenience monster. They're like, compete with this. You absolutely cannot if we're not talking HBD. So they're going to have their centralized stable coin on Lightning Network, and that is what's going to dominate. Very few people are going to own Bitcoin. It's sad. People know Bitcoin's price is going to go up, but you have bills to pay, and you just can't. It's not going to go up in a straight line. So if it goes down on Tuesday and rent's due Wednesday, you're screwed. So people are literally forced out of the system into dollars. They can't stack sats as people think that they can. They need a good dollar. So that's there's many problems to solve here. It's not stacking fucking sats and your life's okay. Give them a transaction layer, KYC, dignity. Keep your dignity. That way they can have dollars. And they can stack dollars and not have fees and not have, I can't send to you because you're red and I'm blue. After that, you give a value for value model. Now they can fucking provide value and earn. And they can put it in Bitcoin. They can stack sets or they can put it in whatever. But these are two fundamental things that Bitcoin didn't even think of, people do not think of, to tell people, oh, stack sats is a slap in the fucking face to so many people we know. I mean, it's like, oh, why are you stacking sats? It's like, first of all, I can't even afford it because the main chain, if I wanted to, and secondly, I need dollars. I got bills to pay. So like use your centralized stablecoin on Tron. That's what some of the maxis were saying.
I mean, that's where it's going. This whole idea, you've got to use your USDT on Tron. Why do you use your USDT on Tron? Because it's fast. It's faster than Felis, or basically Felis, right? But the problem with Tron is that it's owned by a centralized entity. And that's why it can be fast than Felis. That centralized entity doesn't necessarily have your best interests at heart, especially when it comes to the pressure that's going to be applied in the future. It's not going to be some free USDT chain. Tron isn't, Don't delude yourselves into that idea. If you have, maybe you don't understand crypto. Maybe you're just using it for now while you can get away with it, right? But at some point, you're going to get KYC'd on there. Or there's going to be some kind of centralized attack or some compromise on that chain. And it undermines the stablecoin system because the rest of the stablecoin system is undermined. The USDC, USDT, it's all backed by regulatable US treasuries that can be confiscated away. So they're not really, they're more like, they're becoming like CBDCs in many ways,
Yeah. It's just a little side topic. It's very interesting because Hive is not special in terms of, it was born a certain way, or it's like it's different, it's ordained. It's like, it's not a company. It's the only one that fucking forked out the pre-mine. No one else has done that, right? You have Antelope, but they didn't have the right technology stack. But the point is, you actually had a community that fought back. That's why it's different than everything else. You combine that with the fact that it's very eerie because of all the cryptos that have a community that could fight back. Hive was the only tech stack that works. If a fucking Ethereum did it or Solana did it, you'd still be fucked. You don't have a stable coin. You don't have a transaction layer because you have layer 1 smart contracts. Too expensive to deal with the data availability layer. So it's very fucking eerie that the one coin that forked the founders out and the community rallied was the exact coin where the technology is correct. Because there's only one out there. Hive's the only one. It's very unique in its tech stack. There's nothing else like it. It's far different than Steam now because of all the upgrades. It's literally unique. It's not a copy pasta in any way. And a lot of smart people look at it and be like, oh, that's discombobulated. It should be neat and packaged into one thing. And they look at it, all this crazy thing. And it's like, no, it's actually quite elegant when you put it together and you explain the reasons for it. Just a little eerie, if you think about it.
I think it's, the implications of having an algo stablecoin that isn't susceptible to the situation that happened on Luna on a base layer that's not backed by any USDs, but it's backed by one USD worth of the base layer token, and it has economic controls such that you can't get a Luna situation. That means that the Hive community itself can trade to $1 worth of value without having to worry about even DEXs. It can do it all internally with its own ecosystem. And there isn't another chain that can do that because no other chain has an algo stablecoin with the right economic regulations in place, without a VC backing it, without a pre-miner or an ICO or a company or a CEO behind it. This is a big deal. And I think when VSC, the layer 2 smart contracts come out and the Bitcoin convertibility comes between Hive and BTC, and you get HBD, the Hive-backed dollar stablecoin, converting to Bitcoin, converting to Hive, if that starts getting liquidity, the exchanges can delist Hive all they like, and it's completely anti-fragile because that liquidity will just move to the Hive base layer.
There's literally. So I love game theory. I'm a professional poker player for over a decade. Before that, I used to play strategic games. So I love game theorizing, and I'm taking all bias aside. Every coin I can take down theoretically. I could find a weak point and say that's it. I cannot take down Hive. If you were to say you have to, or you have to jump off this bridge, I would literally have to jump off the bridge because there's always a way Hive lands on its feet. There's always you can't account for this. You can't account for that. So being so battle tested, I think it just separates.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see because a lot of people, from the crypto industry will be like, you can't take our chain down. You can't take this chain down. You guys are talking shit. It's like, no, we're not talking shit. Like, you can't take Hive down. Yeah. It's already been battle tested. The takeover has already been attempted, and the community forked away and made itself richer, right? There isn't another chain in crypto that can do that has proven to be able to do that. There's a lot of theory. There's a lot of ideas out there that this stuff can work and can happen. But ultimately, actually seeing it in practice, and also practice is a different thing to the theory as well. You can set your chain up all you like with all the bells and whistles you like. It's a combination of the community being attacked and how it rallies. That's the most important thing. Yeah. The tech is almost secondary, but it's obviously very important. And Hive's proven this, and I don't see another chain being able to do that. They just don't have the mechanical things in place and the setup in place and the decentralization over time in place that proves, that enables for these attacks to be defended. Yeah. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see it happen. It will happen, though.
So it's use case. All these other chains, at the end of the day, very few of them have use cases, and the ones that do end up being decentralized stable coins. So if you have a value for value model, people will defend that and they'll use that regardless of speculation. And if you have a feeless stable coin that can't be seized, they're going to use that, and that's going to spread. And the fact that it can't be taken, this is how I know Hive is some kind of black swan event that can be accounted for by the elites, because you can't stop it. It has tremendous life-changing use cases that banks and centralized authorities hate, i.e. literally moving dollars without having to fucking KYC, without fees, instant. Top that off, they can earn those dollars from the pits of hell just by providing value, and then build a reputation that's worth more than anything. And then they have all these opportunities. We've seen it with fucking McSam. We've seen it with Enrique. We've seen it with so many people we can name. These people have risen via value for value model. You can't stop that. And when people earn, they protect and they appreciate. And these reputations over these years have been sown. We're 2 or 3 years out from critical reputation mass, which means we have enough reputable people that it's over. It's done. They'll fight to whatever they need to defend their reputation and what they've built. And the greatest thing about it is these bull markets do shield us. We're kind of hidden in the riffraff. We're not taken as seriously as either. We're being taken very, very seriously, and we're in the phase of, well, isolate them, don't talk about them, or we're still out of the radar. Either way, it's allowing us time to build, and that's all we've been doing. That's another thing. Hive's a part of this fantastic movie because we didn't fucking quit. It's the bear market. We're still goddamn building everything we need.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to see, man, because like Dan was saying, you can earn this stable coin. There's no point in this situation that we ask anyone to buy any Hive. There's no come buy my shitcoin. People keep saying, solution, buy my shitcoin. I was talking to a couple of Bitcoin maxes the other day and explaining how Bitcoin's lost its way a little bit. It's not really what it was supposed to be. And that people will transact in KYC-less stablecoins. That's the key. Can your stablecoin be regulated and can it be KYC'd? If that's the case, or if it's moving in that direction, it's over. It's over for that stable coin, in my opinion. Maybe a lot of people will take a while to catch up with that until it really affects them, but get ahead of the game. This is where the game's really at. You've got to figure out if your stable coin can be KYC'd, and if it can, you're just using a CBDC basically.
Hive is it's the parasite in a good way. It's like, oh, you built this dollar and you have all this military and you have all these years of history and all this infrastructure. Let us just take that. We like it. Oh, you can't take it from us. And you just keep thinking about how powerful it is. We just piggyback off of it. It's like, why create it? We just fucking attach to the system like a parasite and use it for our needs, and they can't stop us. It's like fucking get off of us. Stop it. What are you doing? Like, censor them. Fuck, you can't. They're dropping front ends to all the communities. It's like, take the stable coin. Oh, no, you can't. Stop them from earning. Fucking, we can't. They're using our systems. Yeah. The Lightning Network, we didn't account for it. Lightning Network infiltrate, their brilliant Lightning Network plan. It's like they just attach to it. It's like, we can delist them. There's nothing we can fucking do. They're using Lightning Network. We can't stop them. And It's great. It's awesome. They got to be pulling. If I was them, I'd be pulling my fucking hair out. That's for sure.
I mean, I want to just clarify this here. Yeah, because what's happened is everywhere you can spend Lightning, using the V4V app, you can spend HBD, which is a stablecoin that can't be KYC'd, that is effectively a parallel economy, that you can earn and you don't have to buy, right? You can earn it from providing value to the community, and you prove that value by creating content on the platforms. So to me, this is, no other crypto can do this. No other crypto is even in this paradigm, you know? The only crypto I know that could distribute stablecoin that can't be KYC'd is HBD and Hive. And once you realize that, and then Brian in London set up this system where you can pay Lightning invoices with HBD using the V4V app, and it's just a QR code that you scan. Man, that is massive. That is massively powerful. Because like Dan says, you're just piggybacking off the side of the infrastructure that's already been built. Everywhere that accepts Lightning also accepts HBD by default. You know, everywhere that accepts, on top of that, you've got all these keychain stores, and anywhere that accepts HBD, of course, accepts HBD, but also it's anywhere that accepts Lightning, and we're just piggybacking off that system. And then on top of that, you know, everyone's talking about how the Bitcoin's the savior, when it's really not, because of the high fee base layer and the know your customer layer 2. But the fact that we can then use that system and use Bitcoin's liquidity to exit from Hive, it's massive. It's massive. And I don't think people are even in this paradigm yet. I really don't.
So it's very, very genius. So you get the thing and say, okay, well, number go up. So everyone's going to fucking join because the world's so desperate. And as number go up, it becomes more and more centralized, right? Because the high fee base layer, they start building a centralized custodian, but people will still hold it and still adopt and still absorb because number just keeps fucking going up, and you have to. You're an idiot if you don't. You'll get it on your Lightning Network wallet and you'll just hold some, the people who can afford to do it. And everyone will fucking love it, embrace it, and say, who cares if it's centralized? Number go up, number go up. It hits $1 million. And guess what? You think you have power and you think you have money, and then they fucking Kanye West you, and they say, oh, you know, you have Apple Pay money. We'll just freeze that shit. You have to sue us and spend years in court to try to get it back. You think that money's yours, and it's not. I've literally known a poker player. Millions of dollars, they froze it. Guy went homeless. He had family. They don't give a shit about you. Your money's not real if you don't control it. So they'll let you get rich. They'll laugh, and they'll say, try to fucking spend it. You're going to have to bend over fucking backwards. You have to give away all your liberties. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it because you went all in on the system because you were so focused on number go up, you weren't focused on the wolves surrounding you.
Yeah, it's that open golden cage, right? Everyone that's using these ICO'd founder chains that have got CEOs, that have got foundations, and they're all owned by VC capital that bought the ICOs, and all those VC capitals are on coin voting proof of stake systems that are registered in the USA, which is a pro-regulation jurisdiction, right? What are you doing? What are you doing? You're inside a golden cage with a wide open door, and you're saying, oh, we've got some freedom to do crypto transactions and DeFi. But the second that cage door closes, you ain't leaving, bro. You ain't leaving. You're in. Your wealth is in the system, and they're going to be like, that account's okay to be used. We don't like what that account does. We don't like what that account says online, so we're going to freeze that one. And if you don't freeze it, infrastructure operators on these centralized networks, you go into jail, you know? So they've got to freeze when they're told to. They've got to comply, or OFAC compliant, as it were. There's so many OFAC compliant nodes on Ethereum, and they haven't even asked them to comply yet, but they're signaling compliance because they're all VC-run nodes that are registered in the USA. That they want to signal that they're compliant, you know?
Literally every centralized attempt at electronic money, e-cash, and all these things got shut down. So this is why I don't comprehend some people's thought process. Go try to open up a bank illegally in the United States. Go try to do something like that and see how fast you get arrested and taken down. You're a fucking bank. You're laundering money as far as they're concerned. You're doing illegal shit. If you think they're not going to want to know the thousands of dollars you send and who you send it to and want control over that and be able to reverse it, if you think they're going to allow that, even though you've seen eCash go down, you've seen all of these things go down, you still are naive enough to say, no, they won't. They could, but they won't. It's jackass. Of course they're going to. They are going to censor it. They're going to freeze anyone and everyone they possibly can. And this isn't a coincidence. We're going through probably the worst depression in a lot of people's lives. Like, a lot of people are wrecked right now. The world's really shitty and desperate. And, we just have crypto number go up. And it just so happens that 99% of these crypto protocols are centralized and controlled. So they suck into fucking desperate people. It wouldn't matter if we were prosperous. People would be like, no, they'd be more moral. But they're so desperate that they just fucking soak up everyone in these centralized protocols. They all think they get fucking rich, and then they go try to use their goddamn money, and they realize, I'm in a slave state. I can only spend X amount a month. Or, it's diminished. They're taking it out of my account because I did something wrong. I didn't know they could do that. It's going to happen. It's not if, it's when. Like, there's no other scenario where that doesn't happen. I can't think of another, like, how can you comprehend another way? They're just going to be like, no, go on with your no KYC centralized stable coins. We're not going to bother. We don't care what you do. You're sending thousands of dollars across the international border. We don't care about who you're sending it to. Are you paying your taxes? We don't care about that. You're fucking out of your goddamn mind. They want every penny. They want to know everything. They want to know if you have $600 in your bank account. You think they're going to allow you to send $10,000 worth of Ethereum to fucking China? You think they're going to allow that shit if they can? And you think Ethereum can withstand a nation-state attack when they've already rolled over belly forward and nobody's even forked yet? If all the fucking validators right now on Hive said we'd be compliant, there'd be a fucking fork. We wouldn't just say, okay, I hope that doesn't happen. But they literally said that on Ethereum and nobody did shit. Nobody did anything. They didn't even try. They didn't rally. They just said, okay, whatever, that sucks. That's the state we live in. There's a bunch of goddamn soy boys out there that are just so desperate for money that it's like a dog chasing a poisonous snake. They think they want it, and as soon as they eat it, they die. It's like you're chasing money, but in a centralized system, and once you get the money, you can't use it in the way that you thought you could. So in a way, you're not accomplishing anything. You're just like, you're going the shitty route that you wish you wouldn't have gone if you could go back in time. But you're so goddamn desperate and short-sighted. It's like, dude, I'd rather give me a penny with freedom than $1 billion under a button. It's not even a question.
Like, to me, it's crazy because the system that's been set up with these centralized chains it's a new way of the bankers doing banking and finance, but including a few more people. We'll let a few more people in, Mm-hmm. But hold on a minute. This tech was not supposed to be for that. This tech was not supposed to be that. This is like a mirage that's being sold to people so that they accept the bullshit new scenario that's been given to them, Whereas in reality, it should have been digital human rights in a decentralized world that can't be regulated but by the community itself. But you fucked all that up when you put ICOs and pre-mines and CEOs and everything into your shit, right? So now, here you are. You haven't built digital freedom and digital rights. Instead, you've built frickin' a digital cage that allows the bankers to do banking more efficiently, which could have just been built on a centralized database in the first place, Like, what are you doing? You literally could have built this shit on a centralized database and just let a few of the plebs in to do more of their banking and DeFi and finance, right? So because it's still regulated in the same way, it's still all under the same regulatory umbrella. These communities don't have autonomy, they don't have rights, they don't have the ability to do anything about their own finances or vote. That's where this is going to go. And you need CEO-less, ownerless protocols like Hive to make this shit happen. And there's not many out there. There's just not many out there,
Here.
Right, we're going to check out for the first part. And I'm sorry about the focus shit.
Let's make a noise, actually.
We'll make a noise.
And that way we know that we can attach it to it.
Yeah. I hope that focus isn't good for the whole fucking show. All right. See you all in a bit.